The idea was essentially to get people in management rather than in the various disciplines. Therefore, there was a committee, like the many other committees in IIMA, trying to look after the doctoral program. So when I was asked to be the chairman, then I decided that we must find a way as a progression from the postgraduate level. So I recommended, my committee recommended that we move towards granting or towards setting up a program which will lead to a degree which will lead to a position equivalent to a doctorate. So I thought of many things and I came up with the idea of calling them fellow.
FPM didn't exist it only came up later on, and that's the reason I applied abroad as well. So marketing was not a subject area offered that year for admissions. In my second year of the FPM, in fact rather the first year itself, I didn't know what to work on, so I took 4 areas and selected readings and wrote papers on those. During that period, I identified 4 topics. One of them was media planning.
The institute announced the fellow program, and I should have joined the fellow program in 1971. July the session started. I was offered admission, but my Professor Krishna, said he's a valuable resource, we can't release him. And Professor Rangarajan, who was the FPM chairman, they must have been friends, so he agreed. So I joined the fellow program in January of 72.
Within first 2-3 months, the institute had announced the second admission to the second batch of students for fellow program. I applied, which means within 3 months of coming to Ahmedabad. Then I had to prepare and so on, so it was some pressure. But Subhash kept telling me that I don't have to really take it seriously because one did not really know whether one would be able to join the program. So I was taking one step at a time, and once I would move on, I would think the hardest part was behind me. But then as I got selected, then within 6 months I was into the fellow program. Being an FPM student, having been an FPM student myself, I could empathize with FPMs a lot. And whenever a student would request me for help in supervising, I would leave it to them to decide, first of all, choose what topic, and then I would think whether, I could help them grow in that, whether it was also within my interest range. But once there was a commitment, then, I would initially encourage them to explore on their own and then come back to me once they were ready with, some kind of a framework. And then I thought it was my, moral responsibility just to help them move through the program, its difficulties, and essentially it was during the dissertation phase. Yeah.
So I just yesterday took someone, I showed him D16 last room. I said that's where Ashok used to be. So he first year, so he was an FPM in the marketing area. He came from XLRI, and he came because he said that he had never been to the west of India. He grew up, he's a coal mines child. He grew up in the east. He went to school in Hazaribagh College in Calcutta, XLRI. and then worked a little bit with the Jesuits, didn't take placement, did some social work. And he said that they were paying second class fare to Gujarat. And he said that I had never seen the west of India, and so I thought, let's go along for a ride. And that's how most people came to IIM in my generation, you know. I mean, like, I don't think most of us knew that section in your form of why you want to do management. I mean, you had to really scramble and ask friends and neighbors and write some rubbish and hope you wouldn't get asked. And so he came here and he said they were paying 1,000 rupees stipend, and that was like really big money, and so he just decided to stay on. And he took a long time to do his PhD, so we used to joke that he and his friend Arvind Gupta would have to sell their shares in the Louis Kahn Plaza when they finally got their convocation.